Hi everybody, welcome to Baby Sleep Trainer's YouTube page. If this is your first time here, my name is Natalie Willis. I am the Baby Sleep Trainer. I help families get their babies to sleep through the night and take healthy naps. I help families get the sleep they need. I help babies get the sleep they need. Today we're going to talk about the 4 questions you need to ask your pediatrician before you start sleep training. So these are questions I have pretty much all of my clients ask their doctors before they begin. Now some of them might not be relevant to you, but on the off chance that it is, let's put them all out there. Okay, question number 1. First of all, let's make sure that you're not sleep training a child that's younger than 16 weeks of age or 4 months old. So assuming your child is 4 months of age or 16 weeks, around there or older, the first question you want to ask is some variation of, can my child go either A, 12 hours overnight without eating, or B, what is the minimum number of feedings my child needs in a 12-hour period? If you have a smaller baby, I recommend my clients, for the most part, I recommend clients who start anywhere in 4th or 5th, sometimes even 6th month of training, 4th or 5th or 6th month of life, to keep a nighttime feeding. There's a bunch of reasons why. Some circumstances you wouldn't want to keep it. So if you have a younger infant, maybe you'd say, hey, is it okay if I keep just 1 feeding at a minimum? Or 2 feedings. Sometimes pediatricians hesitate to give a really direct answer to this, but I would work hard to try to say, okay, but would you say 2 is the minimum they need? How about 3? Would 4 feedings be too many? It's important that you know how many feedings at a minimum, if any at all, your child needs to have overnight. Because as you're crafting your sleep training plan or what you're going to do, whether or not to feed them and at what time should be a part of that plan. As a follow-up to this question, so this is like question 1, section B, Roman numeral 2, or whatever, is going to be, let's say that your child is currently eating 3 times a night and your pediatrician has said, okay, you can go down to 1 feeding. Or let's say your baby's eating 3 times a night and the doctor's like, they're good, they can go 12 hours overnight right now. Sometimes I'll get that for older babies, right? So then the follow-up question is, okay, may I cut the remaining feedings? So let's say you're starting with 3 and you're going down to 1. Can I cut those 2 feedings cold turkey? Or if you're starting with 3 and you're going to 0, you say, okay, can I cut all those feedings cold turkey on the first night of training, right? So whatever you're reducing, you want to know if you can cut those cold turkey, because you definitely do not want to wean and sleep train at the same time, right? So whatever the number is that you need to have, that's what you want to start with on the first night of training. If the doctor says, yeah, you do, you know what, yeah, you can go from 3 to 1, but I'm going to want you to wean those feedings down. No problem. Say, how exactly would you like me to do that? And get really specific, clear directions. If you're bottle feeding, maybe they'll say, hey, you need to go from 4 ounces to 3 to 2 to 1 over 4 nights. If you're nursing, maybe they'll say, if you start with 10 minutes, go to 8, 6, 4, 2 over several nights, whatever it might be. But you don't, whatever the weaning process is, you don't want to do that simultaneously while training. That's going to be really, really challenging. So whatever the weaning is that you need to do that beforehand. If your doctor gives you a choice between going cold turkey or weaning, or they say it's pretty much the same, in my non-medical opinion, if your doctor approves going cold turkey or gives you the option of going cold turkey or gradual, or weaning, I would definitely say cut those feedings cold turkey. The hormone that regulates our hunger, ghrelin, is reduced overnight. It is unlikely that your child will feel as hungry as you think that they will be. So as long as the pediatrician is on board when we're talking about nighttime feedings, cutting them cold turkey if the doctor approves, or reducing, going to just 1 or whatever it might be, is really the best approach when we're talking about nighttime feedings. Okay, question number 2. Can my child sleep alone in their own bedroom? Even if you're room sharing, it's usually ideal if the doctor approves for you to separate from your baby for the first several nights of training. And if you're trying to make the transition, you're not sure if they should keep room sharing, studies show that children sleep more poorly, as adults do, when they share a room. Believe it or not, none of us sleep well when we room share, particularly not infants and moms. Moms sleep more poorly, babies sleep more poorly. And so you may find that sleep training your child while room sharing with them is going to be pretty torturous on the baby. So for a variety of reasons, you may choose to separate from them. However, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that you room share for at least 6 months, if not a year. So you do not want to put your child in their own bedroom without specific, clear approval from your pediatrician telling you, yep, it's okay. It's okay for your family if your baby sleeps alone in their own bedroom, whether you're going to leave them in the master while you sleep in the living room for a few nights, or whether you're going to put them in their own nursery right off the bat. Don't put them in their own room unless your pediatrician says that it's okay for them to be there. The third question you want to ask is it okay and is it safe for my baby to sleep without a pacifier? For children who are young, who cannot put their pacifier back in their mouth on their own, Keeping a pacifier is basically not sleep training because whatever they need in order to fall asleep, they're going to need every time they wake up. And because we wake up, we have nocturnal arousals regularly every time we complete a sleep cycle. Babies wake up, and if they need a pacifier to fall asleep at naps and bedtime, they're going to need one throughout the night. And if you keep one at bedtime and you are not wanting to reinsert it all night long, they're not going to understand why they have it at one time and not at another, and they're going to cry more, and there's going to be more agony and more crying. Once again, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends, as of right now, of the making of this video, which is September 2019, as far as I understand, the recommendation is to continue using pacifiers. So that's fine. You may not be able to successfully sleep train until your child is at an age where you can stop using a pacifier. And so you don't want to stop using one, once again, without your pediatrician's specific approval for your situation, right? And ask them about these guidelines and ask them if it's safe for your child to sleep without one. If your child is older, say 8 or 9 months of age or older, and they're able to easily manipulate and put the pacifier back in, same thing. I think you still may want to consider asking your pediatrician if it's safe for them to sleep without one, only because they actually have to wake up a little bit once the pacifier is out in order to find it. So even if they are able to go and look for it, and even if you have 10 of them in the crib, it's a lot more likely that they'll wake up and sleep. Actually, pacifiers keep babies in a lighter stage of sleep. And so that's one of the, I think, reasons why the recommendation exists, to keep it. So once again, don't violate that recommendation from the AAP without discussing with your pediatrician first. And if the answer is to keep the passy, and wait to sleep train until you get approval to sleep without it, or for your baby to sleep without it. And finally, this is most important for babies who are on the younger side as well, probably maybe 8 or 9 months of age or younger. What do I do if my baby rolls? What do I do if my baby rolls to their belly or their side during sleep or while trying to fall asleep? Get a very specific, clear response to this question. So if they start off on you always put your baby down on their back, period, end of story. Always put your baby down on their back their entire first 18 months of their life. Never put your baby down on their side or their stomach, ever. Don't. So if you put your baby down on their back, even if they're 4 or 5 months old, the likelihood is they're going to figure out how to flip from their back to their belly pretty quickly. Sometimes it happens within the first night or two of training. Lots of kids don't like to sleep on their stomach at first. They are uncomfortable. They don't know how to get back to their back. Once again, we get some, as far as the time of the recording of this video, I believe the World Health Organization recommendation is once baby can flip on their own from back to stomach, they can stay on their stomach. They don't talk about stomach to back. I think, as far as I understand, the American Academy of Pediatrics currently recommends that you don't leave your child on their stomach if they flip there on their own until they're able to flip both directions easily. Babies will, sometimes that milestone of being able to go from back to stomach and stomach to back in both directions, right? In all 4 directions, I guess, if you're counting whatever direction they're beginning. That can be weeks or months apart. Once again, something you want to talk to your doctor about. And maybe they'll say, yeah, you need to flip them over to their back. No problem. You may also want to follow up and ask, well, do I do that indefinitely? I had a client not that long ago who flipped their baby for 4 straight hours from their back to their stomach, their back to their stomach, their back to their stomach. If your baby's going to do that nonstop, that's a question you want to ask your doctor. Well, should I just do it indefinitely, 12 hours all night long, just keep flipping back to stomach? Is there ever a point where I should leave them on their stomach? Get a very specific and clear answer to this before you begin training, because these issues, what to do about feeding, is it safe for them to sleep alone in their own room? Is it safe for them to sleep without a pacifier? And how do I deal with roaning? These are the things, especially 1 and 4, that really thwart families and make it really challenging to be successful with training. So that's definitely things that you want to make sure you have clear beforehand. Now, if you're looking for any extra help with sleep training, please, of course, check out babysleeptrainer.com. There's links below. Make sure to subscribe and like, and I will be back here with more information to help next week.